C.S. Lewis once said, "Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny." Have you ever stood on the edge of achieving your dream, feeling the weight of years of effort and sacrifice? As I entered my junior year, I found myself standing on the precipice of my lifelong dream, making it to the NFL. With just 10 games left, the culmination of countless early mornings, late nights, and relentless dedication was within reach. Every morning at 4 or 5, I ran 2 miles to the fire station and back, and my nights were filled with training until 9:30 or 10:00 in the park. I even spent nights in bed tossing footballs at the ceiling, practicing my catches, and visualizing game-winning moments. Everything I did revolved around football, and now I had the paperwork to prove my efforts. I was projected as a top 30 NFL draft pick, a future multi-millionaire. The hardest part seemed to be behind me. All that was left was to play those final 10 games. Stay with me as I share this journey of perseverance and faith. Don't forget to like and comment before we move on to the next part of this incredible story. During a routine game against Air Force, just 2 minutes were left on the clock. I lunged for a tackle I had performed countless times before, but as soon as I made contact, I knew something was wrong. The impact was different, jarring, and immediately knocked the breath out of me. My body went limp, and darkness consumed my vision. When I came to, I remained unfazed. It was football, after all, and injuries were part of the game. My teammates rushed over, urging me to get up and finish the game, but I couldn't move. I tried to articulate that I had no sensation from my neck down to my toes. The initial shock began to fade, but the numbness in my right arm and hand persisted. I assumed it was just a severe stinger. However, when they secured me on a spine board and wheeled me off the field, the doctor's words shattered my reality. "I don't know how you're still alive, son. You don't have a pulse." In moments like these, we're forced to confront our deepest fears and uncertainties. How often do we find ourselves in situations where everything seems normal until, suddenly, our world is turned upside down? C.S. Lewis, in his Reflections on Suffering, wrote, "Pain insists upon being attended to. God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our consciences, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world." This injury was a wake-up call, a stark reminder of life's fragility and the unpredictability of our earthly journey. Have you ever experienced a moment that forced you to reevaluate everything you thought you knew? It's in these moments of vulnerability that we often turn inward, questioning our purpose and seeking solace. Lewis also observed, "We can ignore even pleasure. But pain is harder to ignore." As I lay on that field, unable to move, I faced a profound internal struggle. What was God trying to tell me? What lesson was hidden in this painful experience? This incident not only tested my physical limits, but also pushed me to delve deeper into my faith. It challenged me to trust in God's plan, even when it seemed incomprehensible. Lewis's writings remind us that our suffering is not in vain. It is a tool used by God to shape and refine us. In these darkest moments, we are invited to lean on our faith and find strength in the divine. As I grappled with the uncertainty of my condition, I found comfort in the knowledge that God was with me, guiding me through the storm. As I lay in the ambulance, my father's comforting presence beside me, I muttered, "I laid it on him. Didn't I?" His nod came with a bittersweet smile. "You did, Inc., but this time, it looks like you took the brunt of it." At the hospital, the urgency of my situation became starkly clear as doctors informed me that my ruptured subclavian artery was causing severe internal bleeding. Without immediate surgery, they said, I wouldn't make it through the night. From the age of 7 to 20, my unwavering dedication and sacrifices had all led to this pivotal moment. Emerging from surgery, the NFL's once towering importance had diminished. A wave of embarrassment washed over me, feeling as though I had failed at the one thing I ever truly aspired to. Growing up in a cramped 2-bedroom house with 14 family members, the NFL had been my beacon, my sole objective. But in that moment of vulnerability, I understood how I had confined God to this narrow ambition, equating my worth solely with becoming a professional football player. C.S. Lewis once said, You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. This profound truth resonated deeply within me. Had I been so engrossed in my singular pursuit that I overlooked the broader tapestry of life God had woven for me? My journey was not just about the NFL, it was about discovering a richer, more meaningful existence beyond it. I had been efficient, perhaps, but was I truly effective? Had I been doing things right without necessarily doing the right things? As I lay there, I questioned my past choices and pondered new paths. Lewis's words prompted me to delve deeper into my own soul, asking, what truly defines my worth? Is it my success, or is it my character and faith? This epiphany was a turning point, a reminder that life's value extends far beyond our immediate dreams and ambitions. My identity, I realized, was not confined to the football field. It was intertwined with a higher purpose and a deeper faith. After the surgery, people would come to me, expressing their condolences for what had happened. I couldn't help but think I had truly messed up. But then, a deeper realization dawned on me. I had confined my aspirations to the NFL, ignoring the broader possibilities God had in store for me. As C.S. Lewis wrote in The Problem of Pain, God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our consciences, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. This injury, this setback, was God's way of redirecting me. What if this path was the one that would lead to something even greater, more fulfilling, and more rewarding? Lewis's insights resonated deeply as I navigated this new reality. In A Grief Observed, he reflects on personal pain and loss, describing how suffering shapes our character and understanding of God. You never know how much you really believe anything until its truth or falsehood becomes a matter of life and death to you. My faith was being tested, and I began to see my injury as an opportunity for growth, a chance to deepen my relationship with God and understand his plan for me. When we face trials, it's natural to question why such things happen to us. Good people go through difficult times, and often, there's no clear answer or scripture to explain it. Some struggles defy easy explanations, but as Lewis suggests, these are the moments when God's presence is most profound. Have you ever considered that your tribulations might be God's way of drawing you closer, of inviting you to lean on his promises? I began to see my situation differently. What if God had something better in store for me? Something that would take longer to manifest but would ultimately be more fulfilling? What if my injury was not the end, but a redirection towards a greater purpose? This realization transformed my outlook. I remembered the feeling of running out into Neyland Stadium, the adrenaline, the excitement. Now, I felt that same thrill when I stood backstage, about to speak to an audience. It was a sign that I was on the right path, doing what I was meant to do. Embracing God's plan has infused my life with a profound sense of purpose and fulfillment. Every time I pray, I do so with boldness, fully trusting in the omnipotence of the Lord. This wasn't my first conversation with God, nor would it be my last. Many people have asked if I would change my circumstances, given my paralyzed right arm and hand. My response remains steadfast. If only you knew, if they could witness the miracles God has worked through my life, they would understand. My injury led to my father's salvation and inspired 3 of my friends, who made it to the NFL, to discover their faith. The transformation in my mother's life has been extraordinary. These blessings are invaluable, far surpassing any NFL contract. Reflecting on my journey, I am reminded of C.S. Lewis's words, hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. When ESPN questioned if I would be playing in the NFL today, if not for my injury, they failed to grasp the profound impact of my experience. If they could see the lives that have been touched and the faith that has been strengthened, they would understand. C.S. Lewis once pondered, why do we live as though comfort is the ultimate goal? This resonates deeply with me as I navigate my path, consciously choosing to trust in God's plan. Have you ever wondered what hidden blessings lie within your own trials? How might your struggles be shaping your destiny? Each day, I strive to surrender to God's will, recognizing that his plan is far greater than my own. We all know the joy of when God says yes, when our prayers are answered and blessings come our way. But what will you do when God says no? Can you embrace what you don't understand? Can you still perceive God's plan when it diverges from your own? These are the pivotal questions that shape our faith and commitment. In his profound work, The Problem of Pain, C.S. Lewis contemplates the role of suffering in our spiritual journey. He asserts, we can ignore even pleasure, but pain insists upon being attended to. God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Reflect on this when faced with rejection or hardship. Do you hear God's voice more clearly? Is it during these moments that your faith is most tested and most genuine? Consider the story of Job, who, despite losing everything, remained steadfast in his faith. Like Job, staying true to my beliefs, even when my career dreams were shattered, has served as a testament to others in their Christian journeys. People have come to faith not because of the trials I endured, but because of what they witnessed God accomplish through my perseverance. This lived testimony is a powerful sermon, connecting deeply with those who observe it. Never forget why you started. Recall that initial fervor and commitment you felt when you first chose to follow Christ. Along the path, challenges will arise that test your dedication and faith. My definition of commitment has always been about staying true to what I promised to do, long after the initial passion has waned. This steadfastness means holding firm to my beliefs, even as circumstances shift dramatically. Let me hear a blessed from you all. C.S. Lewis also remarked, faith is the art of holding on to things your reason has once accepted. In spite of your changing moods, have you experienced times when your faith wavered because of changing moods or circumstances? How do you hold on to the initial spark of faith when the world around you seems to crumble? It is through this unwavering commitment, amidst life's ebbs and flows, that our faith is truly demonstrated and solidified. Despite my paralyzed arm and hand, I have remained steadfast in my faith. When my career aspirations vanished in an instant, I clung to my core values. This unwavering commitment has inspired many others to follow Christ, showcasing the profound impact of living out one's beliefs. In his writings, C.S. Lewis often explored the theme of suffering and faith, asking, why do the righteous suffer? He reminds us in The Problem of Pain that God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Have you ever wondered why, amidst our trials, our faith is tested so profoundly? When we face life's inevitable challenges, how do we respond? Is it with despair, or do we find a deeper well of trust in God's plan? Lewis's insights help us understand that our struggles are not in vain. They are opportunities to deepen our faith and trust in God's greater vision. When God's plans diverge from our own, it's a call to embrace his promises over our immediate desires. Our journey is defined not by the obstacles we face, but by our response to them. By remaining true to our core values and beliefs, we can inspire others and leave a lasting impact on the world. It's not the immediate outcomes that matter, but the strength and purpose we derive from God's promises. Remember, as Lewis said, hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. Can you see the extraordinary path that God is shaping through your trials? How might your unwavering faith inspire others to embark on their own journey towards Christ?